Today we are talking about thought work. What is thought work? How do you do it? What is the actual point of it? So I want to get into what is the actual point of it. As we are all reaching for goals, we want better relationships or better business or better health, whatever our goals may be, we need some form of motivation to fuel us. Now, what a lot of people use as motivation is negative motivation. So that might be shame or fear or beating yourself up or you're so lazy, like, why don't you start doing this? And that can only take you so far, and that will lead to burnout. And as I have used both methods, the positive motivation and the negative motivation, I can tell you that reaching your goals from a place of believing in yourself and loving yourself is it just gets better results. So if it's more fun and it gets better results, then you might as well do that. And after coaching so many people recently, I'm realizing that thought work is so necessary. I'm realizing how many people are not showing up on YouTube or writing the book or doing the thing that they want to do because they have these limiting beliefs that for some people they're ugly, or they hate the sound of their voice, or they think they have nothing interesting to say. And when you have those beliefs, it'd be crazy if you really thought you had nothing interesting to say and you're an ugly person and no one wants to hear the sound of your voice. Why would you ever show up? Why would you ever take the action to show up? You wouldn't. And so then why would you get the results that you wanted of the freedom and making more money than you've ever made and the confidence and feeling proud of yourself? You never get that result. What you actually get is, oh, yeah, see, I didn't do the thing. I am just, worthless. I'm a lazy person. See, I didn't do it. I'm a lazy person. And that introduces more negative beliefs. It wasn't actually the case that you were ever a lazy person to begin with. It was the case that you were an insecure person, and then that kind of froze you up. And so then you didn't do work, but then you chose to say, oh, I'm lazy. And it just creates this spiral of introducing more and more negative beliefs about yourself the longer you go down this journey. And so I feel like it's important at any moment we have the choice to get out of that negative spiral and to move into an upward spiral. But our brains are just wired to look for things that are dangerous or that could harm us in the name of keeping us safe, that it's difficult for us to notice the positive things, which is why in the journal I've got questions. What are we grateful for? What are you proud of yourself for? And noticing what is positive about yourself and what beliefs do you actually want to think. It takes intentionality to get out of that headspace to think positive things about yourself and have positive belief. So this method I'm just calling raising the bar. It's like, how do you raise the bar in your life? And it's an acronym, TBAR. And so it basically just comes from CBT, which says that the thoughts that you think repeatedly determine your beliefs. Your beliefs determine what actions you take. And then based on those actions, you'll get certain results. And that turns into a cycle. So based on those results, you will think different thoughts. And so you can get into a negative spiral or you can get into an upward spiral. But it all seems kind of easier said than done. It's like, well, yeah, sure, I would like to think better thoughts. I would like to not be insecure or to not have shame, but how do you actually do it? And I saw this exercise on Reddit the other day, and I did this exercise, and I've just been experimenting so much with thought work recently. I think over the last several years, I experimented a lot with productivity, but I haven't experimented a ton with thought work. So I'm in this phase of life right now where I'm really trying to hone in on how do you actually change your mindset? Because I think kind of luckily for me, for some reason early on in my YouTube channel, I just had a very positive mindset. So when people would talk about limiting beliefs or like being insecure, I just didn't have it. I just had like this delusional mindset and I couldn't relate, I guess. But now I can definitely relate. And so it's allowed me to just delve into mindset work a little bit more, which has given me more of an interest of talking about it on the channel. So before I get started on this exercise, which is 3 steps and has been really impactful for my mindset as I've been experimenting with different ways you can change your mindset, I just want to say thank you guys so much for all your support with the Potential Journal. I launched it and then went on vacation, and I came back and saw that so many of you guys had went out to get it, and so many of you guys had commented such nice things. You're so excited for it. So thank you so much for doing that. As I've been talking a lot about mindset, that's really what really birthed this, because it's just 7 questions every day to really up your mindset so that you can get better results. And one of the questions in this journal is writing your dream statement down every day and visualizing the day going perfectly. And I think that really aligns with what we're talking about here, because in that dream statement, you can write down an identity statement, an affirmation, a goal statement. I've got a template in there for a dream statement, but as we're talking about mindset work, I just feel like it goes very hand in hand. So if you're interested in this, the link will be in the description, like always. But let's get into the 3-step process. It's very easy. And I think it's important when we're talking about kind of like woo-woo things about visualizing a life you want or, manifestation type topics. It's important to get into how do you actually do it? How do you, it'd be great to have better beliefs, but how do we actually do it? So let's get into 3 steps of how to actually do thought work. And the first step is to determine what your existing beliefs actually are. So the first prompt is just answering these 8 questions to kind of unearth these beliefs, because I think a lot of times they're running in the background and we have like a monologue or a dialogue going on in our brain, but so much of it we're just not even realizing. We're not like watching it as it happens. It's just kind of happening in the background. So what we want to do is kind of tune into those things. So the first thing I want you to do is write down any beliefs that you feel about life. So for example, life is hard, life is dangerous, life is scary. Like think about, just kind of complete that sentence. Life is, and see what negative things come up. And you don't need to spend too much time on it. Like don't really worry about it. Just kind of instinctively write it down. The second one is beliefs about your abilities. Like I am bad at talking to people. I am terrible at being funny. Just filling in different abilities, maybe just list 3 of them that you feel like are really resounding with you emotionally, things that you really care to change. Like, for example, I might say I'm bad at basketball, but that's not really affecting me. I don't really care that I'm bad at basketball, but things that are emotionally resonating with you. And then 3, I am lazy. I am unintelligent. I am unoriginal. So filling in I am identity statements. The 4th one is they are statements. They are better than me. People are mean. People are bad. People hate me. So it's beliefs about other people relating to you. The 5th one is broad beliefs on a certain topic. So for example, maybe you're really trying to get into a relationship right now, or trying to build a business right now, whatever kind of like your big area of life is. Like for me, it's building a business. Writing down your beliefs around that certain topic. I'm bad at making money. I'm not good at building a business. Building a business is hard work and I'm not gonna like it. I'm too lazy to build a business, things like that. The 6th one is I cannot X because Y. I cannot build a business because I'm too lazy. I cannot build a business because I'm not intelligent enough to do it. I can't make $10,000 months because I would have to work all the time. I can't sustain making very much money because the times I did it were just a fluke. The 7th ones are always and never statements. I never have good ideas. I always ruin a good thing. And then everyone or no one. Everyone thinks I'm a fraud. No one cares what I have to say. So these are pretty some just enjoyable beliefs we have here. When you start completing these sentences, you start realizing some of these beliefs. So a lot of those that I shared were beliefs that I was actually having. Those examples were things that are rolling around in my brain. So now what I want to talk about, if we want to raise the bar, okay, if we have these beliefs, okay, what do we actually do with these then? So first off, aside from the exercise that I'm about to show you, is we're going to start trying to identify them and realize them when we're thinking about them out and about. So for example, if you're having issues with money, pay attention in environments that might trigger bad money beliefs. So whenever you look at your bank account, what do you think? Or whenever you're at the grocery store and pay, what do you think? Or if you go into a fancy restaurant, or if you're around wealthy people, if you're in a wealthy person's house, what do you think? So when you're in an environment that might trigger the belief, pay specific attention to it. But what we're gonna do now is we're gonna actually take those, and there's a certain way to do this, but we're gonna take them and we're gonna write them in their opposite format to do something with in a little bit. So what we want to do is we want to mirror them as closely as we can when writing these opposites, because some beliefs have kind of a general sound, like I'm bad at making money, but some are a lot more specific, like last year when I made money, that was a fluke and I will never make more than this amount of money. And so we can have general beliefs and specific beliefs. And when you have a general belief, you want to mirror it with something general. And when you have a specific belief, you want to mirror it with something specific. So what I did is I was going through this, like if I had the belief life is scary, I would actually go to Google and I would type in what is the antonym for scary? And I would try to find one that was the most emotionally resonant to me. And I might have to dig through a thesaurus, and I might have to dig through, but something that feels emotionally resonant. So when I said life is scary and unsafe, I said life is cheering me on, because that's what was emotionally resonant with me. I'm lazy and I only make as much money as I need and no more. So when I flip that to the opposite, I said I'm active, industrious, and energetic, and I'm skilled and excellent at making more money than I need. I'm not original. I can't think for myself. I'm incredibly original with unique thoughts I come up with myself. So on one page, I wrote down all those negative beliefs, and on the opposite page, I wrote down all of their opposites. And I want to give one because the negative belief was in the format of like an idiom, like a expression. So one of the negative beliefs I had was everyone thinks I'm a fraud, a marketing showman. I have to put lipstick on a pig. So that putting lipstick on a pig, that's an idiom. And so what I wanted was something that was opposite. So when I did the opposite, I said, there's no need to put a bumper sticker on a Bentley because it's like the similar format. So what you're doing is you're trying to mirror it as specific as you can. So then once you have this new list of beliefs or these new thoughts that we would like to be beliefs, what we need to do is think them repeatedly or engage with them repeatedly, because when you have thoughts that you think repeatedly, those become your beliefs. So there's a few ways that you can do this. One is you could write them every day, the whole thing out. One is you could say it out loud every day. I find that when I say it out loud, I might start to choke up sometimes when I say it out loud. And when I read it in my head, it's not really resonating the same. But I had a coaching client who he's been doing this for, I don't know, probably over 20 years. And so he actually has audio that he recorded of himself saying things like this from 20 years ago. And he still has the audio and he still listens to it every day. And he talks about like he's just achieved way more than he thought he could, because when you strip away these bad mindsets, you can really achieve your results. So what I did then is I read this out loud with a voice memo in my phone, and I read it through once, and then I read it through again, and I read it through again. And so I recorded me saying it maybe 5 times in a row, because I wanted the audio recording to be decently long so that I could just play it and loop it, so that when I'm getting ready, because a lot of mine's around business or YouTube not going well, so that before I film a YouTube video, I'm just like listening to this and I have this loop that I play over and over. So my audio recording is 8 minutes long. And at the end, so I said it several times, probably about 5 times. And then on the final time, I actually sang it, because I have just a very deep connection with music. And I think that when things are sang musically, I interpret it emotionally a lot stronger. And so I feel like it actually like resonates with me a lot more. And I don't know if you feel like this too, but sometimes I just feel like these exercises are stupid. Like sometimes I'm sitting there and I'm like writing these affirmations and like, this is just cheesy, or this is not going to do anything, or like, do I really have to write it? Do I really have to read it out loud? Do I really have to say it in a voice memo? Like, do I really have to go the extra step and do that? And I think the answer is yes. It is cheesy. It is cringy. I'm like rolling my eyes the whole time I'm doing this thing, but it actually has results. And I think the fact that I think saying nice things to myself is cringy says a lot about where my mindset is. Now, I feel like with things like this, the most important thing, like without thinking, am I doing this right, or all the complicated things, is to actually believe it. Because I've said this so many times, is that a few years ago, when I started the YouTube channel and my mindset was so high and I was genuinely believing that I could do big things, I was achieving a lot of big results. And so if you were to just like read this in a voice memo, and you can tell in the sound of your voice when you believe something or when you don't believe something. Like what you want to do is really get into a state where you're believing it, so that when you're listening to it, you can hear in the tone of your voice, or like when I sang through it the last time, because it was just like penetrating deeper in my mind. You want to actually believe it. You want to hear the tone of your voice. You want to know that you actually believe it, because that's really the most important thing, is to get to a point where you believe these things so that you take certain actions so that you get certain results. And that effectively is the raising the bar. And I do want to mention, okay, so I launched the Potential Journal. I went on vacation. I came back, and I was so grateful for the comments that you guys left, but I wanted to include it in this video because this is all about mindset work as well. One of the questions at the bottom is your dream statement, and your dream statement can be something that you want in the future. It can be an identity statement. It can be an affirmation statement. It can be a goal statement. And so I think, like, as we're talking about beliefs and changing your beliefs, that is a great spot to put these, because this is all about, it's like you're showing up, you're meeting your potential, and you're thinking about who you want to become, but we're doing it from a place of feeling lighter, from feeling like we're loving our lives, from loving ourselves. And it's just a better way to achieve things when you have this high belief. Because if you don't have high belief, then what you're going to use are negative beliefs as fuel. You're going to try to use shame or fear or beating yourself up, and that's going to be the way that you try to motivate yourself. And it's just, you know, after doing it for a while and having seen it done both ways in my own life, I can just say that when you actually believe in yourself and work on believing yourself and you use that as your motivation, it's such a better fuel. So if you would like to have a little conversation, I do have coaching calls. That'll be linked in the description. If you want the Potential Journal or the Potential Planner, that will be linked in the description. So yeah, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.